Before we start this podcast, I want to definitely remind you of a sponsor for Fresh of the Word, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest. In the world of wrestling where there's hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads, don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. So if you'd like to discuss a possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or even Zubaz, then drop them a line at 20by20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. And also check out their enamel pin line. It's super cool.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what it goes. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, but either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh. Fresh, fresh, goddammit, we so damn fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier, and this is episode 181. Our guest for this episode is the Dallas-based Synthwave duo of Chris Love and Danny James, known as PRIZM. They released their self-titled debut EP earlier in 2019, where it would soon catch some buzz around the synthwave world and later lead to their signing with the independent synthwave label FiXT Neon. The pair continue to work in the studio with pretty much the third member of PRIZM, producer and songwriter Jeff Rockwell, and recently released a new single, We Were Young, along with a feature on the Fury Weekend track, Escape from Neon City. This up-and-coming duo is already making waves in the synthwave world as they shared with us how the group got started, the dynamic of their friendship, how they got signed to FiXT Neon, the worries of working with labels, and their day-to-day routines. PRIZM strives for variety in their music as they share with us the benefits of being on a label like FiXT that has such a diverse roster. And without further ado, let's get on to this interview with Chris Love and Danny James, known as PRIZM. How did this duo of PRIZM start? What's the story?
Well, it all actually started with our producer. So, there's really three of us in PRIZM. That's kind of where the name came from, PRIZM 3 points to the band. And he had this idea and he presented it to us with just kind of like what do you think about doing a synth pop project? And I was very intrigued and right away kind of thought, yeah, let's do this. And so that's how it initially came to be, with the idea of creating this band.
What was everybody doing before this idea? How did everybody meet?
We've all known each other for a while. Chris has known Jeff for a really long time. And I've known Jeff through some other people. And so we all live in Fort Worth and grew up around this area. So we just kind of always stayed in touch. And I think it was Jeff who had reached out to Chris.
And, what was it about everything that, you wanted to start making music?
Well, for me, I always had this love of music. Danny and I have been creating music together for years now, and we gig full time. So it's full-time job making music, performing. And this project was just something so different and very challenging in the way that it was a new a new genre for us and a new style of writing, singing, challenging ourselves vocally, all those things rolled up into one. So, we just really all wanted to work together. We always all talked about working together anyway. So this project was kind of perfect to kind of actually, dive in and get to do that.
What sort of music were you doing beforehand that this project was kind of a bit of a pivot for you?
And Chris and I, we've always both played acoustic guitar and had more of an indie, soulful pop sound to our music. And we always loved listening to the type of music that we make with PRIZM, but just kind of had never had the opportunity to make it. And so when this presented itself, it was just so easy for us to gravitate towards writing music like this. And Jeff's production and, his musical arrangements are just so genius. They're very easy to write to, make good songs.
Diving into this sort of music, was there any sort of freedom that you felt that was different than what you were doing before, with working with Jeff and doing this PRIZM thing?
Yeah, absolutely. With our gigging and performing live, a lot of those sets that we do are full of cover songs. People want to hear music that's familiar. They want to hear the covers. They want to hear all the classic rock songs and stuff like that. And we absolutely love doing that. It's awesome. And that can be challenging in its own way, in a positive way. So doing this really gave us the freedom to get back to who we were as artists and get inspired and lay that out in the studio. And especially with the vocal styling in these songs, we kind of channel, what would Whitney Houston do with vocal runs and stuff like that and certain harmonies. And so it was just really awesome to be able to open up and really get back in touch with who we are as artists and lay that all out with PRIZM. So, it's just very raw with who we are, stuff we've always wanted to create, and we don't hold anything back. We just go for it on every song. Every song is just a party when we're making it. What can we do? What is something awesome we can add in here? What are some cool harmonies, some cool ad-libs, all of it. And so, that kind of transition to focusing back on who we were was very rewarding and enticing to create this band.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool too because Chris and I met almost 8 years ago, and the biggest thing for us was that we were there was just such ease writing together, and her and I just make a really great team when it comes to lyrics, melody, just constructing a song. And so coming into contact with Jeff, who creates this beautiful music, it's really fun to be able to have that creative liberty to do that kind of stuff.
When you met 8 years ago, what was it about meeting each other that, clicked? You guys would eventually, find comfort in writing songs together. But what was it about those initial meetings that, you felt like something clicked between you two?
Well, we initially met on Facebook. So it was kind of this odd way of meeting, and we were communicating there, kind of messaging each other back and forth. And I think we just really vibed with the idea that we were both girls who played guitar and liked to sing. And so we talked about getting together and, jamming and, writing maybe. And we just hit it off. It was just instant chemistry. It wasn't forced or anything. So, just the first few times us hanging out and singing together, it just flowed so naturally. It was really cool.
Yeah, and it was really cute because her and I were both impressed with each other's original songs and our styles and how they were different but also really complementary to one another, and that just made it way more easy and fun. I think it was the second time we ever hung out. I came over and she was like, I really want to cover this song. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of it. And we just like learned it in 5 minutes and recorded a YouTube video, and it's still on there. But it was really cute and fun.
What is it about, working with each other? What are your similarities, and then what things about each other complement each other, or, what things are sort of different with each other?
That's a good question.
I know.
We are very much alike. People always mistake us as sisters and even twins a lot. When people ask if we're twins, we just say yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before this interview. I'm like, let me look. Are they sisters?
We are not related. For the record, we are actually not related. We are, we have a lot in common, but we also have a lot of things that make us different. I don't know where I would even begin to explain. Obviously, the music, we have that in common, and singing, playing guitar. What makes us different?
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I think it's really cool and interesting because, like, Chris is such a sweetheart. She's also, like, really tough and strong. And, like, I've always loved her ability to, like, set really clear boundaries and just be, like, a badass. Like, and it's encouraged me over our friendship to have more of that come out in me. And I think having a friend that you're close to, that you do have a lot of similarities with and share such an intimate experience as writing music, that it can help shape you into a better version of yourself, which I think is awesome. I'm super thankful for. And we're both really bubbly and vivacious when we're together. It's like electric when we hang out. We're like kind of lost in our own world sometimes with our inside jokes, and we'll just be laughing about random stuff, but we're always really nice and bubbly and fun and laughing about something. Like, Chris is probably one of my top funniest friends. Like, she's always making me crack up. She's like so witty. It's hilarious.
Danny's a little bit more extroverted. She can talk to anyone, which we both can, but she can really just talk and connect with anyone, and it gives her energy. And I'm a little bit more of like a intimate small group. I get my energy when I'm alone type person as well. So, I mean, that kind of makes us a little bit different, but it's so awesome because we balance each other out really well. And there are times where I just feel like I just need silence and just like quiet and peacefulness. And Danny can, she can make sure that like, I'm like, what do you need? Like, I got you. She's very nurturing. So we balance each other out with our differences. And that's like where the real magic is, because if someone can't balance you out with the differences, there's a lot of friction. You don't really get along. And we spend so much time together. We see each other every single day. Couple. I think the long we've maybe go 2 days is the longest we go without seeing each other. And so people are always curious, how do you guys not get sick of each other? We just don't. I don't know. It's like, we're just extensions of each other at this point.
I think healthy communication is really good too. Like, I mean, obviously if you're with someone that much, you're going to have times where like you're frustrated or like maybe something happens or whatever. But I think the cool thing about us is like, we'll talk about it. And like, if she comes to me and tells me like, well, this happened and this bothered me, and I'll be like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I just think you have to have like a certain level of like, I trust her, and I want to stay close and stay good and with what we're doing, because I feel like we met for a reason. And so I never want to have too much pride in my friendship, to like let small things like ruin anything. You know what I mean? Like ruin anything.
Yeah, we have no time for pride or ego. Like everything would fall apart. Nothing would get done. So we are constantly having our ego put in check, which is really good. It's humbling.
It is good. For sure. Gotta have it.
What is it about your energy when you're together? How does that translate into the music that you're doing with PRIZM, and then also just your live shows in general?
I
think,
let's see. Oh, man, I don't know. Danny, what do you think?
I think it scales down to like our personalities together. Like I was saying earlier, is like electric. Like when we hang out just from day one, like we have cracked jokes, laughed a ton. We've always like sang random stuff. Like we'll just walk around and be like, hey, or like, we'll just like do random stuff. And I think having that energy, it's like easy to come up with stuff. And like sometimes we're not even surprised at this point. Like we'll be walking and doing something random and we'll sing the exact same line of a song at the exact same time in harmony. And it's like, it's like that doesn't happen with everyone. Like, but it happens with us. And we're like, just can't be surprised by it at this point anymore. Like, so I think having that kind of connection, it makes it easy to write music like PRIZM. And we love like 80s music. We love like the fun, dancey, like Chris grew up listening to a ton of oldies and I grew up listening to a lot of Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson and stuff. So the influence is already there too, which helps.
Was there any sort of, obstacles that you guys had, any sort of learning curve with going into this PRIZM project, and how did you sort of get over them?
I don't know about any like major obstacles. We were very thorough with how things would be done. That's really great with Jeff and I. We are a little bit more like, this is everyone's responsibility. This is how it's going to be broken down. This is the schedule. We're going to meet at this time. And, we're like every Friday at 10 a.m. we're in the studio, we're writing. And it's just like this well-oiled machine kind of at this point. We laid out how we wanted everything done in the beginning. And there haven't really been like any huge obstacles that have shown themselves yet. Hopefully there aren't any, terrible obstacles that happen. We're still pretty new at this, but I'm very much like, I like to have like everything, scheduled and well thought out, responsible rock star, as I like to call it. I'm not like the, we get in the studio and let's party or like out late the night before. I'm like the lamest rock star, like musician person like you would ever meet in your entire life.
Whatever.
Like it's 9:00 at night. It's time to go to sleep.
No, that's me. Yeah, that is so me. But that's just how I am. I'm a little bit more of like kind of analytical, logical thinker. I wasn't always like that. And I just kind of came into it and I'm kind of like full blast, like that person. So, I'm cool with like things staying on track and helping other people stay on track with what we're doing. And we all work so well together that any obstacles that do come out, we can easily talk them out.
What is the sort of process in the studio that you guys have with making music? I know you have a bit of a schedule already, but what's it like being in the studio to make music, write music, write this PRIZM music?
Well, it starts off with an ingenious track, typically, and we'll play the track, we'll loop it, and we'll just kind of wait for inspiration to strike. One of us might already have cool lyrics or a cool melody that we'll present to the group, and we'll all decide like collectively if we like it and like how does it hit, how does it make you feel like, and then we want to use good lyric choices. We don't want to make anything too simple, but we want it to be like moving enough and feeling enough. And we all three, like she said, like we work really, really well together. And so that's typically how it starts, is we'll just kind of,
Jeff will post ideas.
Ground up.
We have a Facebook group. This is how pro we are. We have an actual Facebook group where Jeff will post ideas and kind of get our thoughts. Like, what do you guys think? And he'll just have kind of a line of songs on there, and we'll listen to them and kind of vibe out with them. And I mean, we'll sometimes even have like a line, and we'll tell them, we have this one line, let's build a song around it. So it's kind of been different for every song, how it gets started.
Yeah. I like doing it that way though, because you get to taste the song a little bit for a while, see how it feels, and kind of gain some more ideas and let the inspiration flourish as you listen to the tracks. I like that. I think it's cool.
What do you hope that your listeners get out of your music?
I just want people with this project specifically, I want people to have fun. I want them to just feel like that sense of kind of letting loose and having a good time. A little bit of nostalgia as well, because just with the music itself, with that kind of synthy sound, it gives you that sense of nostalgia, and some of our lyrics kind of wrap around that same feeling as well. So I just want people to have fun, have a good time, and when our music plays, they feel happy and they're like, okay, yeah, this is awesome. Turn it up. That's what, I love about making this music, because I love listening to stuff like that. So being able to create that for listeners is really, really cool.
What I like about the whole, PRIZM operation is that there's a lot of cool visuals. You've done, a bunch of different, everything's so vivid and beautiful, sort of talk about the importance of having all these great visuals.
Well, so Jeff's wife is actually the one that takes our photos, and she's extremely talented and makes sure that, even the slightest hair is put in place. And we just have a lot of fun, like coming up with ideas. Like she was saying, the music, it's carefree, it's fun, it takes you back a little bit, like just to good memories. And so whenever we do photo shoots and things like that, like we like to throw in some of that nostalgic like vibe in there. And it's cute because for some of our shoots, Jeff and his wife Jessica will go and find stuff at like a thrift store and like bring it to us and like style us, and we'll get to like wear cool like unique pieces that kind of give you that feeling. And it's super fun to come up with stuff for photos and photo shoots. And there's a lot of really cool places around here. Like we like to shoot in Dallas a lot because there's a lot of fun places to go and like create some cool content.
So, recently, PRIZM was picked up by FiXT Neon. How did that happen?
So with that, we're kind of getting added to playlists as our music got a little bit more traction, and we got added to this specific playlist, which was really awesome because I was already following it and subscribed to it. And it was the Iron Skullet Synthwave playlist, and he had one for kind of the more pop wave, which is what PRIZM is. It's more of like the pop wave realm of the synth world. And so he added us to his playlist. His name's Preston, and I don't know if you follow his playlist at all. So particular. He really thinks about these songs that are going on this playlist. And so getting added to that was already really cool and a big deal. And he kind of reached out to James at the, FiXT Neon, and was like, you should check this band out, PRIZM, just listen to their music. And so that's how we got our foot in the door there. So we're very thankful to him. And he's now, doing PR with FiXT Neon, which is, another really cool bonus because he knows this whole world, this whole synth world inside and out. He writes some really incredible articles on the differences of all the different synth genres, because there's so many of them. And so him introducing us to FiXT was just the, foot in the door kind of thing.
How has your experience with FiXT been since signing?
Oh, they're so awesome. We adore them. They're great. They
are on top of everything. They were really helping push us to get added to different playlists. They have a whole team that are so dedicated to what they do with the album artwork, posting about our music, sharing us with other playlist curators. They had great ideas for, creating music video, different kind of content, really getting to know us as artists, to know how to push us in the right outlets that that we should be in. And they've just been really supportive over us, which is, kind of scary going into signing with a label. You don't know. And you hear horror stories. And so I really like the feel of this label, the fit of it. Just the first time us talking on the phone with James, and he really wanted to get to know us and to talk to us. And we were on the phone with him, all of us, for like over an hour, just, chatting. And we were sending questions back and forth, through email, and he was so thorough with us and so patient, because we had so many questions to ask him, and just the way how patient he was, and how he gave us all the information that we were needing and more that we were asking, because we were asking a lot of questions. It really built this really great sense of trust, and working with them has just been incredible so far. They just are so supportive. They know what they're doing, and they're introducing us to a lot of things that are still very new to us, and they're kind of holding our hand through this new genre that we're still getting acquainted with. And so for that, they've been incredible.
Is there anything that you've learned during that process that you might not have even thought about beforehand, before signing a label, that really sticks out in your mind when you're doing something for PRIZM from now on, whether it's make music or, photo shoots or just anything? Is there anything that sticks out in your mind now that you've learned since signing?
I don't know specifically if there's anything that we've learned. I just think it's awesome to be ushered in that direction. Like, nothing is forced. Like, they love our look, they love our sound, the ideas that we come up with. Like she was saying, they're extremely supportive. And this is my first experience with a label at all, period. And I feel like so honored and blessed that it's them. Like, they feel like the cool aunts and uncles in the family that are just so into your dreams, and they're so creative. Their team is really great at coming up with usable graphics, content, things like that. And so I don't know, it's just been a really fun experience so far. It's all new. It's like a whole new world.
Where do you hope that this, PRIZM project goes? It's sort of a new thing still for you. You're still sort of getting your feet wet with it, but where do you hope, this goes?
I would love to be doing this project full time and I have my whole focus in it. If this is something where, we could be going on tour or creating more albums, anything like that, I'm so on board. I'm in love with this project so much, and it's just been such a blast, really getting to work on these songs and to challenge myself. So I'm taking everything day by day and trying not to get too overwhelmed. I do like to set goals and kind of dream about where it could go, and I'm hoping that it's something that takes us pretty far into the music world. I would love to do a tour, to work with other artists. That would be the dream right there.
For sure. I think there's an effortlessness that comes with writing, with Jeff and Chris and all of us working so well together, I personally enjoy the writing process so much. Think to experience anything that, PRIZM gaining fans and traction and a lot of listeners, I think there's so many opportunities that could come, like a tour, that would be amazing, or getting to team up with other artists and write for them, doing collabs, stuff like that. I just love the giant world of opportunity that could be available to us through this project. And we all really connect with the music. We connect with the songs. They mean a lot to us, come from a very true place for all of us, I feel. And so, yeah, who knows what's going to happen, but we're all extremely into it and dedicated to this project and excited to see where it could possibly take us.
How important is it to have a label that wants to get to know you and build the product, the brand, the image through authenticity, rather than, you hear the horror stories where someone gets signed and then they just want to, change them all into something that is similar to what's the status quo on the mainstream, How important is that authenticity to you guys?
Yeah, that's really scary to think about that happening. And we did discuss that, the challenge of, if they wanted us to change anything, and just feeling like you were saying, the authenticity of them and their whole camp, it was just so real and true, and didn't feel forced, or I didn't get that gut feeling this is a mistake or anything like that. So it was very important for them to lay down a foundation of trust, and this is a family basically kind of thing, because you're kind of walking into a marriage in a way. And so it was really important to have that, and just with how encouraging they were and how complimentary they were to our work already, it was just really great. It was a great boost of confidence in what we were doing, and it validated that they enjoy what we're doing and they want us to keep making this music, and they didn't want to have all these changes or anything. They have let us creatively be who we are, and so that right there is just, it's amazing. And I've been really thankful to them for that, for being encouraging and not trying to change us in any way. They did do a great job of building a relationship with us, and doing it. They did a video call, and they, had everyone face to face on their team come and say hi to us on the video call. Everyone, people who run their social media channels, do their graphic design, do their PR, just everything. And so that was just really cool. It's okay, you're meeting the family. These people all want to see you, and they want you to see their face. And, that was really impressive to me. So I'm really excited to see, how our family goes from here and what we all create together.
Yeah, I think what makes it work is when you have that investment, it's like a family unit, a group, a team. They work because you're all after the same goal, which is you all want each other to succeed, and so to have a label that sees you and sees your talent and sees what you're trying to go for and invests their personal time, their resources, their money, just things that are of value. When they invest that into you, it's super encouraging to keep going. And I think it does apply more of that trust to, the artist to label relationship. And we're all really thankful for it.
Outside of making music, what is sort of each of your hobbies or interests or any passions, things that you like to do for fun?
Well, music takes up a huge part of our life.
So much.
Be it in the studio writing, recording, or playing live. So it's hard to fit in hobbies in between that aren't related to that. It is a job, but also my hobby is I do love to play guitar. And so I just sit in my apartment by myself and, try to become a better guitar player. And I love playing lead. And so I'll, play little lead lines and challenge myself to learn, like this lick that Peter Green played a bajillion years ago. And I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. So I'll just sit for a couple hours until I get it down. I love to work out. So I go to the gym once or twice a day. That's a lot of where my extra time goes. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really have time to do much else.
Yeah, it's very true. It takes up so much, but it's like it doesn't always feel like work. So it does still feel like a hobby because like she said, if I have free time and I want to sit down and play my guitar, like lately I've been writing a bunch of songs just like for myself and coming up with random stuff and just feeling really inspired. And I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old, so I love spending time with her and doing things with her. And outside of that, I enjoy trying to connect with people, connect with friends, have some of that balance to the work life where I get to like relax and be free. And I love like conversing with people and just having relationships.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
we have to play so much too. But when people always tease us for this. Jeff actually teases us for this, that we our like off days and our time off, Danny and I still spend that time together. So we do like to, we work out together, we go shopping together. And if we don't have to play a show or something, we love to go watch live music. So there's a lot of great local bands in the DFW area. So if we have time, we'll go catch a show. This summer we had a lot of like pool days where we just like hung out by the pool, which was awesome. And so, yeah, when we're not together, we are together.
Oh yeah. And if we're not physically in the same room, I think maybe there might be like a day where we don't text as much, but typically that's just because we're resting from like everything in life. But like otherwise we're texting all day, every day, laughing, sending the most random things. Yeah. And I think it's important when you work with someone, which this kind of became a job, we were friends first. I think it's just important to cultivate that friendship still on the other end, because it can be overwhelming. Life is overwhelming and keeping up with everything is overwhelming. And so to be able to like chill, like she said, we had a lot of pool days and we just like got to relax and hang out with friends and, have some of that downtime together as friends. And that's important to have too. You got to have a balance for sure.
Kind of wind things down, and I do like to ask this question of people that I interview, is what is sort of a nugget of knowledge from your life or career that anybody listening to this, it doesn't matter what avenue of artistry that they're in, that they could project into their own lives?
Work, dedication, lots of hard work, every waking moment, put in that hard work. It takes a lot, but I mean, it's attainable and it's doable. You just have to be able to have the drive to do it. It's as simple as that. It's, it's a lot, but that's all it is having that drive and this, being able to have, the sacrifice as well. But yeah, if anyone, has something that they're wanting to do, I always encourage people to just go for it. just do it. Do whatever you can, even if it's a little, like just 30 minutes each day that you're spending towards doing something you love or building towards doing something you love, then to take it. You'll be happier and feel better for it.
Yeah, that's so true. And, you know, for me, I think a lot of artists have the tendency to maybe be like really self-critical or a little too hard on themselves in their craft, whatever that may be. And to that, I mean, I've struggled with that in the past, just not believing I was good enough, you know, but at the end of the day, like you can't take it so seriously. It's like if this is something natural for you to pursue, like this is what you love doing, you know, you're gonna, as you do it every single day, putting in that work, working on yourself, working on that craft, like it's going to be great. If, like she said, if you put your hard work into it and you believe in yourself, I know it sounds so cliche, but it's just part of it. You know, it's that, I think those are the two things that help you achieve like your dream, whatever that may be, you know, in the arts or in anything that you want to do.
You know, before we get out of here, you know, recently you guys dropped a new single, We Were Young, and then you're also on a track on the Fury Weekend's new full-length album coming up. You know, what else, is there anything else that's in the works coming up?
Oh, yeah, we have our next release is going to be very kind of different. I don't know. I'm trying to not give away too much. It's going to be something that we're just excited for people to hear, and it'll be a little bit different from the PRIZM stuff that's come out so far. And we think anyone who is in the, you know, synth music world and, you know, knows about other artists, they're really going to appreciate this song. And I mean, we're in the studio every week, so we're gonna have a lot of new music for people to hear. We're not stopping now. We are working hard, and so everyone should expect a lot of new music from us. And so, yeah, get ready to get down.
Right. How important is it for you to like have a diverse sound for this band?
Oh, I think it's really important. It feels as if we are kind of paving a new way in the pop wave, synthwave community, which feels really cool because the synthwave community is still responding to the music that we're creating. However, there's a pop element to it that people that aren't really familiar with synthwave, it kind of introduces it to them in this really easy, breezy, carefree way. And because all in all, it's fun. And like, who doesn't want to have fun? Our music is so fun. And so I think that is what's really great about creating like the PRIZM music.
Yeah, like I mentioned, you featured on the new Fury Weekend single. And on FiXT, they have a wide range of sort of different type of synth music, you know, from the pop stuff that you guys are doing to a lot of the more harder stuff. How does it feel to be a part of a label that has that sort of diversity, and has it sort of influenced you guys in any way yet?
I think it's very refreshing to see, you know, the diversity for sure. And getting to work on a Fury Weekend song was a lot of fun. And right now I bring him up, but I am a big Ace Marino fan. And so being label mates with him is so cool. His music, you know, was on my playlists before we even signed with them. So that was really a trip, getting to like, you know, communicate with him and be like, hey, we're label mates. No way. But seeing the different kind of genres, synth genres that they have, is definitely a refreshing thing. And I love that, you know, we are a little bit more pop. We're very pop. We are pop wave, and them working with us, you know, I feel like we were kind of different from some of the other artists on the label. So, you know, coming into it, it's like, hey, you know, what's up, everyone? You know, we're making this like pop wave music, and everyone's just been so welcoming and so encouraging. Our label mates are really cool. They are all just, you know, warm and welcoming. And so you can't really ask for, you know, anything better than that. That was a kind of like a phew moment. Like, okay, these guys are cool. We're all going to get along.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Well, it's been great talking with you, Chris and Danny. Before we get out of here, you know, where can people go online to get more information about PRIZM and, you know, promote anything you want to promote?
We have a fan link, I believe, if you go to our Instagram page, which we are on Instagram. If you look us up, it is We Are PRIZM, and it's PRIZM with a Z. So when people look us up, just remember PRIZM with a Z. We do have in our bio, the song link to our new song, We Were Young. You can listen to that on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Pandora, all that fun stuff. And of course, if you look us up on FiXT Neon's website, you'll find us on there as well. We're on all the fun stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We love responding to comments and messages and talking to people and getting to know them. We love how welcoming everyone's been, not just, you know, with the label and our label mates, but the actual listeners of the music. So we actually, you know, we like communicating with people and talking to them. And, you know, when they ask us questions and want to get to know us, we're all about that. So bring it on.
So that was my interview with the lovely ladies of PRIZM, Chris Love and Danny James. Definitely go support them. Links will be in the show notes for this episode at freshasthepodcast.com, to where you can follow PRIZM and also FiXT Neon and the whole FiXT label. There's a lot of good music on that label. Just go check it out. It'll be great. So thanks again for listening to Fresh as the Word. I got a big announcement I want to share. I've been thinking about this for a little while because there's so many different things that I cover on Fresh as the Word that it's starting to get a little congested. So to sort of reorganize, refresh, and, you know, just sort of breathe some new air into like my podcasting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start 2 new podcasts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate from now on all the music podcasts that I do into their own podcast titles. So first off, I'm going to start a Detroit music history / new stuff podcast called Renaissance Soul. And that's named after my first website, which was first a J Dilla discography website. And then it later expanded to just Detroit hip hop and then Detroit music in general. So with that, I'm going to, each episode, I'm going to take a topic, which is going to be either an album, a single, an artist's legacy, or an era, or a record label. It's going to be something specific, and we're going to break it down with that artist or somebody that was involved in that, or somebody who's really educated in that particular topic. So each one of those episodes is going to be like that. The first one I'm planning was something that I had recorded for Fresh as the Word, and that's going to be my interview with hip-hop artist from Detroit, of course, Big Tone, about his new album that he did with House Shoes called Big Shoes. We did this interview and we broke down each track, and there was so much history behind each track that in regards to his career and Detroit hip hop as a whole, that I think this would be a perfect, you know, first episode for Renaissance Soul. And he was somebody that I feel like I really helped out with, you know, at the beginning of his career when he was, you know, finally putting out, you know, proper records and stuff that, you know, it's just perfect that Big Tone would be one of my first guests. And then the second podcast I'm going to do is going to be the non-Detroit music episodes, you know, all genres of music. And I'm going to call that one Breaking Records. And the Breaking Records name is actually the name of a column that I used to do for a little while in a Detroit publication that no longer exists entirely. It got merged with Metro Times, but it was in a publication called Real Detroit Weekly that I wrote for in two times. But my first time in from 2003 to 2006, I had a column called The Loop, and I did cover stories and other stories. And then towards the end of that run, I wanted more room to write, a regular column. So they did give me another column. I called it Breaking Records, where I kind of went above and beyond just like hip hop, and kind of went deeper into certain things in hip hop and electronic music and whatever. I really enjoyed doing that. So I'm naming this other one, this other podcast called Breaking Records. Because like I said, I wanted to separate the music episodes from Fresh is the Word, just so I can promote and organize everything a lot better. I already have a handful of interviews that I was originally for Fresh is the Word that is going to be the first episodes for Breaking Records. It's going to include my interview with Dia Frampton from Megan Dia, Chicago producer, footwork producer, Tracksman. Also got Larissa Stupart, the lead vocalist for the metal band Venom PRIZM, and then we also have a new interview with Will Putney from the band Fit for an Autopsy. I'd interviewed him recently on Fresh is the Word, more for his studio plugins, but this time we're talking about the new Fit for an Autopsy record. So, and then I got a bunch of other things, planned out for all three of my podcasts. But I got some cool things in the works. It's really it's an exciting time. I have a lot of things to unveil in the month of October. The timeline right now looks to be October 15th for the debut of Breaking Records, and then hopefully towards the end of the month, the debut of Renaissance Soul. I'm going to have a trailer with a lot of special Detroit guests coming out soon to sort of reintroduce Renaissance Soul to the world. So be on the lookout for that. All this information will be posted and continually be accumulated, aggregated, you might say, under, the website at freshasthepodcast.com. I'm not making new websites for everyone. They're all going to be on freshasthepodcast.com, because Fresh is the Word is kind of going to be the umbrella of it all for right now. And then, just make sure that you can just go to the website if you want to support at all. I definitely need the support now because I'm doing new things, and I need everybody to spread the word. And if you want to support the podcast also, you can go to Patreon. I'm on Patreon now. For as little as $1, you can support the podcast each month. And then for the $3 a month tier, you can have access to the Patreon only episodes, which will be interviews that I've done outside Fresh is the Word and the other podcasts that, from the past 12 years or so that I did for other publications or never even published in any way. I got a bunch up there now, some that I never use at all, so they're exclusive. And I'm gonna also try to add some more stuff to the Patreon also. And if you have anything you want to send me or pitch me for any of these podcasts, you can always reach me at djkfresh@gmail.com. So thank you, thank you for listening. To anybody's listening to this, thank you. And I'm really hoping that everybody who's listening to this can support, share if you can't afford $1 or $3 a month. There's gonna be some things that I might need in the future. So it does take a little bit of money to do all these things. I'm going to post all of the ways that you can support Fresh is the Word and the other podcasts on freshasthepodcast.com real soon. I got to support the podcast page on there, but I need to update it with some specifics. If people can donate some certain things or help out in any way. I want to just detail everything about how you can support this. There's big things going to go on, and I feel like this is a sliding door moment. October is going to be a really important month for me in many ways. There's some personal things I'm going to share with my listeners coming up in this month, and I'm really gonna start going hard on some things. So okay, I'm gonna quit rambling. Please continue to support the podcast, and thank you. So that's another interview, another episode in the books, and thanks to Danny and Chris from PRIZM for a great talk. Please support them also. Like always, thank you, goodbye, and good night.
Fresh is the word.